Okay, so now the chlorine gas, how to apply in for disinfection. First of all, the chlorine gas we have to dissolve in water or mix it with a small quantity of water, and then that particular chlorine liquid is then applied it to the large volume where we want to disinfect. Since the chlorine gas is stored in containers under pressure, it is in the form of liquid only. So you can see that the chlorine cylinders, just like our gas cylinder, that is for the cooking gas cylinder, just like that cylinder we are keeping in under pressure, and it is in the liquid form when it is stored under pressure, is it? And now since it is stored in cylinders, we need only very small space, and these are the advantages of this chlorine gas as a disinfectant. It can be used for large water supply schemes, since we are storing the chlorine gas in cylinders as liquid form, and there is no deterioration of the quality of the chlorine gas. And if the bleaching powder if we are storing in the stores in the containers, that means usually it is available in that is in plastic bags, is it? In plastic bags we are getting, and the quality will deteriorate because the chlorine will evaporate, is it? That is one of the disadvantages of bleaching powder, which is recommended for large water supply schemes. And then again it needs a large space for bleaching powder, whereas for chlorine gas we need very small space only. Then the problem of chlorine gas is when we are mixing it with water, there should not be any chance of evaporation of the chlorine gas. That means it is very carcinogenic and it is a toxic gas. So you must be very careful when we are using the chlorine gas for disinfection in the water supply projects. Otherwise it is very cheap. Transportation cost is also very cheap, and it's very easy for application, since we are mixing the chlorine gas in a small quantity of water, that is using a chlorinator, that is the apparatus used for mixing this chlorine gas in the water, and that liquid chlorine is now applied to the large volume where we want to disinfect. Okay, these are the forms of chlorine gas and its application. Now coming to the forms of chlorination. That means what are the forms of chlorination where we want to do the chlorination? That is what we are going to discuss. The forms of chlorination depending upon the stage of treatment at which chlorine is added, and also the expected results of chlorination. Chlorination may be in the following forms. അപ്പം ക്ലോറിനേഷന് ഏതൊക്കെ ഫോമിൽ ഏതൊക്കെ സ്റ്റേജിൽ നമ്മൾ അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യുന്നു, അതെ, അതുപോലെ അതിൻ്റെ എക്സ്പെക്റ്റഡ് റിസൾട്ട് എന്താണ്, അതിനെ ബേസ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ക്ലോറിനേഷൻ്റെ ഏതൊക്കെ ഫോമാണെന്ന് ഡിസൈഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. സോ ഫസ്റ്റ് വൺ ഈസ് പ്ലെയിൻ chlorination. This term is used to indicate the fact that only chlorine treatment is given to raw water. The chlorine is added to raw water to control the growth of algae and to remove bacteria. It also removes organic matter and color from water. Such type of simple or plain chlorination is useful when raw water is sufficiently clear, or in case of emergencies such as flood, then heavy drought or war. The quantity of chlorine to be added is about 0.5 ppm to 1 ppm. So that is the first form of chlorination, that is the plain chlorination. So plain chlorination where we want to do it is when, first of all, if there is a crisis. That means we want to supply large quantity of water, there is no enough time to treat the water for other contaminations, so we want to remove